Welcome to Point of Driving, where we take cool cars for a POV drive. Today we have the Audi RS3. And did you just see that welcome sequence with the lighting? You can actually customize the DRL design. It's currently on this checkered flag look, which is nice and sporty, but you have a couple different designs to pick from. Now, the RS3 is the small, compact, sporty RS model, and it has some really cool, unique things about it. The powertrain. Under the hood is a 2.5-liter turbocharged inline-5, one of the few cars in the segment, actually in the entire automotive industry, to come with a 5-cylinder engine. And some people joke it's half of a Lamborghini V10. That's not quite true. It's a different engine family, but take a look right there. Very, very unique powertrain. Now, for this mid-cycle update model, because of some dumb regulation stuff, it actually makes a little bit less power. Instead of 401 horsepower, it's now 394 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. It's paired with a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission and, of course, Quattro all-wheel drive. Now, the Quattro system in this one has some fancy tricks up its sleeve. So you can send up to 50% of the torque to the rear wheels, and then with the rear diff, the torque splitter, you can send 100% of that available torque to either of the outboard wheels. So that's pretty cool powertrain tech. Now, some other interesting quirks about the RS3. Normally, you actually have wider front tires than rear tires, right? That's usually backwards. Like rear-wheel drive sports cars are used to wider rear tires, narrower fronts, but that's because of the balance and dynamics of this thing. Now, this one is not on the factory summer tires because it's getting cold in Michigan, so we're already on Soda Zeros, winter tires here, and they're a little bit narrow. These are only 235s, but then you'll see those are carbon ceramic brakes. This one has the optional carbon ceramic brakes up front, but they don't put carbon ceramic brakes in the back because of the weight balance, again, dynamics. They say it's not necessary. It wouldn't really do much to contribute. So you get carbon ceramics up front, and with the Dynamic Plus package, this little pocket rocket would do 180 miles an hour. Let's go ahead and shut the hood. From a visual standpoint, it gets much more of the aggressive RS treatment, right? The big blacked out front fascia. An interesting thing is, there's no more Audi RS logo up front, no RS3 badge, which the badging, the logo design is an interesting thing to discuss because if I grab the key fob, on the back of the key fob, this is like the new Audi RS logo thing, right? So they move the little red rectangle to the side and then the RS lettering gets the full right there. So you see right there, Audi RS3. And then if we come to the back, you do get a badge, but the R doesn't overlap with the little red diamond rectangle, whatever we're going to call that, right? So RS3, there's the badging. Well, before we get into more of the inconsistencies on the inside, let's take one more look at the exterior. You get carbon there, carbon diffuser, and of course the big oval Audi RS exhaust tips, which is a signature for the RS models. And you get the little vertical reflector in the middle, which looks nice and sporty, along with a pretty cool diffuser, actually. And this color is called Kyalami Green. It's not quite that sunny out anymore. Sun is starting to set this evening, but it is very bright. It gets lots of attention, and I love it. It just fits the personality of this hot little sporty four-door. And I also love this right here, the way the front fender bulges out here, which is a cool touch to it. You got carbon fiber mirror caps. We don't get the hatchback body style here in America. You can only have it as this little sedan, and it's a still reasonable size, reasonable weight, right? Everything's getting so big and heavy. The new RS6, RS7, the latest generation M5, like the bigger tier cars are becoming gigantic. So if you want something a little bit more light and nimble feeling, this is still a really good option for you. With that, let's go ahead and hop inside. We also have carbon side skirts, and you can kind of see the RS puddle lamp right there. That's the first example of inconsistency, right? Right here, look at that. That's the old style RS logo, RS3. You see how there's an overlap there? Same thing on the seats, right? Like, they need to make up their mind with their logo design. The interior is themed really cool, though. We have the bucket seats with the hexagonal RS stitching, which is always what the Audi RS models get. And you get green accents on the seats, green seatbelt accents, green stitching right there. See? That's the old RS logo. Come on. Same thing down on the floor mats. Why is it inconsistent? Soft limiter right there. It does have a switchable exhaust. We got valves. All right, let's do a bit of driving. Wireless phone charging pad right there. This is now your drive selector, your transmission selector. You press that for park, and then you slide this toggle forward for reverse, pulls up the cameras. Back for drive. I don't love this. Lots of glossy piano black, and then you have this touch-sensitive little swipey circle thing that you can also click it for forward, back, your mute, and your volume control right there. But let's go ahead, pick drive select. We're in dynamic, and where's the parking brake? Right there. And let's go. So this one has the green interior theming, which matches very, very nicely with the Kyalami green exterior paint, which is standard. It's not Audi exclusive, you can just get it. You've got some matte carbon here with a Quattro badge. Take a look at the lighting accents here that shine through the suede on the door, that green stitching, lots of green ambient lighting. So the green theme is definitely done very nicely in here. I'm a big fan of that. I'm gonna try launching it real quick. We're in dynamic mode, stability and sport. Yeah, that's pretty quick. That's a lot of fun. Audi says 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds, I think, but I've seen people test it in the low threes. So this thing kind of punches above its weight class. You know, it doesn't even make 400 horsepower anymore, so you might feel like it's technically not up to snuff compared to something like the BMW M2, which now is 473 horsepower, right? That's quite a bit more than this one here. Let's go into RS Performance. So we have these two shortcut buttons on the steering wheel. One is for RS Individual that you can customize, and then RS Performance, which you can also customize. You can change your suspension, steering, stability control, but under RS Individual, back to Drive Select, here we go. You can do your torque splitter, you can change your drive, suspension, your damper, steering, engine sound, which I love. It's quiet, automatic, or present. I like it being present. I want my engine sound to be very, very present. So this thing is definitely quick. You get the advantage of Quattro all-wheel drive, putting that power down, and it's such a unique feeling powertrain. The firing order, the sound of a 5-cylinder, it just is unlike an inline 6, a V6, inline 4s, right? It's such a different powertrain combination, and it gives it character. I remember when the previous generation RS3 came out and the aftermarket went kind of crazy. They were tuning this thing up to pretty ridiculous power levels. It was a little roll race monster going to TX2K. I think IROS, one of the companies that did a lot with it. Now from the factory, they've also made this thing pretty impressive. Slight tweaks for this mid-cycle refresh, but they set the Nürburgring record for a little sedan in this segment. It ran a 733, that's pretty quick. That torque splitter definitely has to help, and from the factory, it comes on very sticky summer tires, which we currently, again, are not on right now, but it's getting cold, so I'm happy about that. I do kind of wish it was snowing this week, because then I could have even more fun going out and doing some winter shenanigans in the Audi RS3, really seeing how that torque splitter, that differential is working. But it's been really nice to live with. It feels such a nice, manageable, compact size. Now, when you're in the more aggressive modes, the dampers definitely are significantly firmer. They lower it, right? It's more aggressive, and it definitely rides a little bit more firm over our very, very terrible Michigan roads. You can definitely feel it. Very different personality from something like the Audi RS6s, right? In the upper end of the lineup, which are air suspension, floaty, more comfortable, big boats that are rocket ships still. But this thing is definitely much more nimble feeling. It makes you want to go toss it around and have fun. The dual clutch gives you pretty fun, snappy downshifts, which I definitely am enjoying. This reminds me of my old Audi S4. I had a B8.5 S4 supercharged V6 dual clutch, obviously very different level of vehicle, but it reminds me just more of that experience, that feeling. And I really enjoyed daily driving that thing. This is like the spiritual successor of that platform. The modern day S4, S5, I feel like it's kind of lost its way with the automatic and the turbo V6. It doesn't have as much personality. It's just not quite as exciting to me. I'm about to spend a couple days with a new Audi S5, so see how I feel about that one. But I remember driving even the B9, I was like, I kind of like the B8.5 more. We're stopped at a light right now, so we can take another quick look around. Even in the back seats, you get all that cool stitching, the seatbelt accents, which is definitely nice. And also, This is a Sonos sound system. I know like a lot of cars is just like branding, right? But usually to me, Audi was B&O or Bose, and I first time seeing Sonos in an actual car, I think. So that was kind of interesting little thing to note. But the interior feels pretty nice. Now you have some limitations of this being an A3 platform. It's on the modular VW family platform, right? So underneath this is technically an A3. That's the same thing for an A5 to S5 to RS5. That's how you step up. So you have a much more entry-level architecture. Now they cover things in nice touches and everything, but it's not going to be as high-end feeling per se, but quality seems pretty nice this week. I didn't notice anything weird squeaking or rattling, and it's got enough of the creature comforts. It's got heated seats. But this is more about driving fun. The steering wheel is actually rather thin and pretty large. It's flat bottom and flat top. You get the green marker there. It's covered in suede here, but you have other options available. And I like the little shortcut buttons like I mentioned. Very similar to the BMW M1, M2. So I think I know where they pulled some of that inspiration from. But it's cool just having the shortcut modes. These are touch-sensitive, swipey little toggle things on the steering wheel, which I don't love, but they illuminate here. You can swipe up and down. You can click up and down. So at least you have physical controls for going front and back, your music, or going up and down volume. So that's a good thing. Some cars, they just keep getting rid of your ability to control different things. Around, ooh, the back end is stepping out a little bit. Yes. Oh, did that man kill that deer, or did he get roadkill? You can definitely feel that torque splitter doing its thing. This thing will let you step out a little bit. It is fun. This is a fun little pocket rocket. I like this thing. In terms of pricing, this is in the 70s range, which may sound like a lot for an RS3, but this has also been pretty heavily optioned with the carbon ceramic brakes and other things that come with that. And the specs are pretty impressive. Now, not making 400 horsepower might sound like it's underpowered by today's standards because everything is getting more and more powerful and quicker. I mean, like I mentioned, the M2 is nearly at 500 horsepower now. But what this thing does with the power and the setup and the ingredients, I'm a pretty big fan of. Wow, in the most firm setting with the dampers, we're actually pretty bouncy. It is definitely firm. It fulfills that RS treatment experience. But compared to something like the M2, I would go for this if I live in Michigan, right? So in the winter, this thing would be a little bit more fun probably in the snow. That being said, an M2 rear-wheel drive with proper snow tires would be a lot of fun. Now, you can still get that with the manual transmission. This one is no longer manual. They haven't done that for quite a while. Does Audi even make anything with a manual? Now that I say that, actually, I'm not sure if they do, but you can't get it in this. Mercedes, same thing. So BMW is one of the last ones left to even offer us a manual in a car in a segment like this. So if that's important, that immediately rules this thing out. Cadillac still exists, right? The 4V Blackwing. See? That's fun. That is a lot of fun. I don't care about the power numbers. This thing ran the Nürburgring in 733. That's impressive. It looks the part. Got the whole RS treatment. I love it in this Kyalami green. The interior's got enough in a full digital cluster, virtual cockpit. We've got wireless CarPlay right in the Audi system. Is pretty easy to use. If I go back home here, you can change all sorts of things. Go to a vehicle, you can change your lighting options, right? The ambient lighting on the inside. We can change the DRL appearance up front too. So it's got pretty much everything that I would want and need. Roundabouts are how we have fun. Yeah, this is enjoyable. Do I love every single aspect of this car? No. The RS logo branding is kind of infuriating. Like right here, I'm looking at two of them right here. Why aren't these the same, right? That's a level of inconsistency that baffles me. That how did that get through? Like, did you guys have too many of these stickers or whatever and like the leftover floor mats, and you had to use them up, but it's in the digital cluster too when you turn it on. So like that drives me crazy, but I love the ambient lighting and the interior theming, and that part of it all is really cool. The dynamics are definitely a lot of fun. One of the highlights for me, this is genuinely a fun little car to drive. Would have been cool with a manual transmission, absolutely, but we can't keep harping on about that. Maybe Audi will bring back some sort of manual again with their newest generation stuff. I am not that necessarily hopeful. BMW at least is still giving us something. But the RS3 has been a cool little car to spend time with. It's been actually a while since I've driven the latest generation of Audi models. I've owned 5? I've had 2 R8s, a Gen 1 V10 Spider gated manual, a Gen 2 RWS. I've had that S4 I mentioned, RS7, A8L. So I've gone through my fair share of Audis. But some of the newer stuff just hasn't been speaking to me as much. But this is definitely one of my favorite ones. Couple more little tweaks, and I think this would be even better. But the RS3, what do you guys think? Would you buy this over the M2? Or are you going for the Cadillac Blackwing, the CT4V Blackwing? What else? Mercedes CLA 45? I'd take this over that for sure. And any other options? Not thinking anything immediately right now, but I hope you guys enjoyed this POV driving video. Come along with me as we rip the RS3 through some roundabouts because I missed a few turns. Thanks for watching.